Hello, this is Beth with another What Sold video for March 12th through 18, 2017. These slow cookers always seem to sell. I find them quite a bit. This one, I believe, is a West Bend. Everything's there, and it cost us $3, and it sold for $25. This is a small wooden bust from Africa, from when we lived there 20 years ago. It's only about 6 inches high, and of course I do not remember what I paid for it, but it sold for $17. It's not real detailed, it's a little crude, but somebody wanted it. This is a Royal typewriter. Haven't done too much with typewriters. I wasn't real thrilled with shipping them, but my husband bought this one. I can't find my record on what we paid for it, but not everything worked. I think it didn't always return, or it didn't always advance, something like that. So we put that in the listing, and it sold for $45. And the guy happened to be in our state, so we arranged to pick up when we went to the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and he picked it up. So this is a Aladdin desk lamp. I put industrial, cast iron, etc. in the title. Paid $5 for it. Sold for $45. Has kind of a nice base here with some detail on it. So I would definitely buy that again. I was kidding with my friend one day, and I told her that I found Jesus at the thrift store. But I have this thing about rescuing old embroidery. This one was quite nice in the center, but the tape that somebody had put on the edge had really discolored it, and so I just put it up and hoping somebody would kind of rescue this piece, and I paid 50 cents for it and sold it for 20, but I'm just glad somebody's going to use it. Oh, this wasn't a very good story. I have heard that Clarks can have bad soles, but so you really have to manipulate them before you buy them. But these look great. I had them in my store for a year or something, and the soles looked fine. I shipped them in a padded flat rate envelope, and the buyer said they were all ripped up when they got them and sent pictures. So I couldn't really, and they did ship them back, and they were a mess. So I refunded the buyer, and then I did a postal claim. And the post office will give you the purchase price back, but not the postage that you had lost. But at least that was better than nothing. So remember to put your Clarks through some wiggling and bending and testing before you buy them. These had sold for $21. I always buy these macrame plant hangers. They always seem to sell. This one I paid $3 for, I believe. Seems like a lot, but it had orange beads on it and was kind of nice. It sold for $22.50. We picked up a bunch of bats a few years ago because they changed all the rules for high school play. So a BESR bat is no longer legal for high school play, and a BBCOR, BB Core, is what they use. But college and adult leagues still use these, so we'd had this a year, so we just sold this one for $17, and we had paid nothing for it. I've been experimenting a little bit with rugs. On Scavenger Life, they talk about selling rugs, so I tried it. This is what I figured is a wool rug. There was no tag on the two that I bought, but it kind of feels like wool. So this one I paid $4 for, and it sold for $21.25. We picked up way too many shoes a few years ago, and have been slowly selling them. But these are Nayots. The Nayots have always been sellers, and they've always sold for a higher price than the Clarks and the Borans. And so I would definitely buy Nayots. I wouldn't necessarily buy any more Borans and Clarks. We paid 25 cents for these, and they sold for $42.50. I like that. My mother-in-law saved everything, and she saved her parents' stuff too. So this is a little Northwest Airline booklet. His grandma wrote on it. Can't quite figure it out. And it's a few pages long. It has the routes in there from probably the 60s and the charts and some ads. Kind of cute. So of course I paid nothing for it, and it sold for $10. Not a lot, but kind of fun. This is a pair of Carhartt boots. The story is my husband went to drop something off at a local church, and it was a day before their rummage sale. So they let him buy these boots. Shoes and boots are always 50 cents there. 50 cents for these Carhartts, and they sold for 75 bucks. Really nice sale. I've been trying to clean out my Tupperware collection. So these are Tupperware blocks that open up diagonally. And I only had this many, so 6 of them. I sold them for $7.50. So I would definitely buy a large lot of these again. Here's a little copper pot with legs. We paid $2 for this one. You can see the size there. And it has kind of a nice detail here on the side. This one was on sale and sold for $30. Another little Tupperware piece. This one I sold for $6, and a woman bought it for her mother's collection to replace something. These are unbranded granny shoes. The SAS ones sell really well. These I just put at $17 because of not being branded, and somebody buys these. My friend accidentally bought the wrong type of vacuum cleaner bags, and these are very expensive because they're hypoallergenic with a charcoal filter, etc. So she gave them to me knowing I was an eBay seller, and they sold for $34. Sometimes you just have to go with your gut. I purchased this little pot, maybe 10 inches tall. I just figured somebody would like that in their decorating. We could use Southwest in our search term. I think I might have got this one free. I can't quite remember. And it sold for $25. That's all for this week. We haven't sold shovels before. Picked this one up for $4. It has kind of an interesting bar across there. We do not know why someone wants it, but it sold for $45. I would ordinarily sell this for a little more, but it had this mismatched cover here. Set of 4 Tupperware. I paid $2.50 for it and sold it for $20. This is a small mail bag pouch lock, I guess. I had no key for it. It's only about 2 inches long, and I paid 50 cents for it, and it sold for $15. This is about a 5-inch diameter turn light lens, and this one sold for $12. It was one of the ones we got free. My husband bought a bunch of these metal jerry cans on an online auction. I paid $4.50 a piece, and we listed them. A guy bought 2 of these. This one for $40 and another one for $50. So that was great. 1 Tupperware canister sold for $6. I bought this at a church rummage sale. It's the board, only the board, no box, for this old game. S.S. Van Dyne's Great Detective Game. From Parker Brothers. I should say, here's the game board. It had 2 of these cards with the characters on it, the jury. And so the board and the 2 cards sold for $42. This is a Talbot's jacket. It's a little too small for me, but I thought it was such a pretty wool blend, that wool pattern, that I bought it. It was from my favorite combination grocery store, thrift store in a small town where everything is cheap. I paid $3 for it, and it sold for $35. I've been trying some stuffed animals, plush, but I haven't been very successful. Apparently there's an older version of this, what they call the hidden Mickey, because of that Mickey pattern in the face. But this one took forever to sell, and it only sold for 12 bucks. This is a vintage Zebco fishing rod. We paid $1.50 and sold for $16. Not a real big deal. We found 5 movie projectors at my mother-in-law's. I don't know why she had so many. She probably just took them in like orphans or something, but this one is a Keystone R8 for 8mm films, and my husband tested it, and it worked. And this one went to China through the global shipping program, and it sold for $45. I used to buy enamel lids and other lids, figuring people would buy them, but for $4 1/4, not such a good item to buy. This one is only 7 inches. Another enamel item that only sold for $4.25. I paid 50 cents for this. It has a Swedish mark on the back, which is kind of interesting, but not a big enough money maker to buy that. Here's a Pyrex bowl. It's a 2.5 quart. I used to kind of like selling these, but I don't like shipping them. And this one only sold for $15, so no more of these. Crepe griddles seem to sell. I paid $2 for this one at that same combination grocery thrift store, and it sold for $20. This is a set of 3 Tupperware Cervelier canisters, paid $2 and sold for $22. I tend to like to sell sets of 4 and 5 because they go for a lot of money. This was from my friend's dad's car. I really wanted to test this, but I didn't really know how. But I found a lot of the little pieces and pieced them together here that go around the knobs. Looks kind of cool. And this one sold for $35. Sold another chainsaw trigger from my friend for $25, and I get a cut of that each time. Multiple quantity. So it's not much work at all for me anymore. Here's my last item for this week. A lot of 13 pieces of Tupperware, small storage containers. They just don't all match. The lids and the container don't match each other. And I sold this for $18.